Yahoo Finance says there's a new megatrend taking Wall Street by storm, one that's certain to change the world and our economy as we know it. It's a $30 trillion tech trend that's likely to dominate the next decade. As Morgan Stanley says, the next decade of investing will be defined by this trend. Now, to put that in perspective, $30 trillion is bigger than blockchain at $3 billion, artificial intelligence at $40 billion, 5G $41 billion, robotics $103 billion, and the Internet of Things at $212 billion combined. No wonder there's a mad rush right now to get into this trend. The founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, has invested $10 billion in this. The world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, is planning to invest a whopping $1.2 trillion. Warren Buffett has invested $15 billion in it and said he's ready to invest $15 billion more. Billionaire Elon Musk has invested in it, so has billionaire Richard Branson. With all the savviest investors jumping in, research firm MRP called it a mania and said stocks in this area will experience exponential growth from here. But while some of the savviest investors on Wall Street are loading up, and while many of the biggest tech players are already positioned for this big move, most everyday folks are still in the dark. That changes today, because one of America's top tech experts, Jeff Brown, is about to expose everything on camera. As an angel investor and former executive of two major technology companies, Jeff Brown tends to see big tech trends before anyone else. And because of that, he's been asked to help consult with members of Congress, senior officials of the Department of Commerce, and members of the U.S. Intelligence Agency. In 2015, Jeff encouraged people to invest in Bitcoin before it shot up as much as 13,932%. In 2016, he picked NVIDIA before shares exploded as much as 2,186%. In 2017, Jeff did it again, picking AMD as his favorite stock. Since then, shares exploded as high as 805%. In 2018, he was telling everyone to buy shares of Tesla before shares exploded there as high as 1,481%. Now, since nothing is guaranteed in the market and investing always carries risk, it's important to know which trends you should pay attention to. And that is precisely why now, for the first time ever, Jeff will reveal the details of this megatrend that NASDAQ.com says could make you rich. And he'll show you his #1 way to play this $30 trillion megatrend. Keep in mind, some of the data you'll be hearing might be shocking, but you can check all of the research for yourself in our disclosures and details page linked below. So grab a piece of paper and a pen and pay close attention, because Jeff will also give away the name and tickers of several companies involved in this trend, no strings attached. Here is Jeff Brown. Hi everyone, I'm Chris and I'll be your host for today's interview, and I am here with Jeff Brown, who is considered by many to be America's #1 expert in tech investing. Jeff, thanks for being with us. And before the camera started rolling just a few moments ago, you were telling me that you have some sort of technology, a piece of technology inside your pocket with you today. And it's supposedly a technology that's part of this $30 trillion trend that could dominate the decade. So I think I speak for everyone when I say we'd like to see it. Right?
Well, Chris, it's right here in my jacket. And I believe anyone who invests in this technology could make huge gains in the coming months and years. And I'll even show you how it could provide an opportunity to make an extra $30,000 per year. But before I show it to you, I think it's important you understand the magnitude of this megatrend.
Sure.
You see, I'm not the only one saying this could be the biggest trend of the decade. CNBC has reported that this megatrend is likely to dominate financial markets during the 2020s.
Yeah, and to be clear, you're saying it's a $30 trillion trend, right?
No kidding. That's right. There's a lot of money at stake here. I mean, this is a huge trend that will affect everything. It's bigger than 5G wireless technology, artificial intelligence, blockchain, or any other technology trend you might have heard of. And just to give you an idea, $30 trillion is enough to buy the so-called FANG stocks, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. And I'm not talking about buying a stake. I'm talking about buying the entire company. All of them, not just once, but 3 times over. That's why Morgan Stanley recently issued a note to its clients saying, move over FANG, The next decade of investing will be defined by this megatrend.
Wow. Yeah, $30 trillion is a huge number. That may even be bigger than the entire U.S. economy, right?
Well, it is. You're absolutely right about that. And it's really shocking. Most people don't know about this trend because even though this is already a huge opportunity, I believe it will get even bigger.
Bigger than 30 trillion?
Yes. You see, we're still in the very early stages. That's why CNBC called it a $30 trillion market just getting started. Bank of America estimates this could reach $50 trillion over the next 2 decades.
That's incredible. So they're expecting trillions to actually flow into this trend, BOA.
Yeah. They even called it a tsunami of assets. And it has already started. There's a mad rush right now like I've never seen before. The biggest players on Wall Street are jumping in with both feet. Check out this headline from Yahoo Finance. The article went on to say, there's a new megatrend taking Wall Street by storm with everyone from Amazon's Jeff Bezos to BlackRock taking notice. It's certain to change the world and our economy as we know it. Goldman Sachs started a $1.5 billion fund to invest in this trend. And BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager, and they're going even bigger. They're planning to invest $1.2 trillion in it. Their CEO, Larry Fink, even said this will lead to nothing less than a fundamental reshaping of finance. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is also investing $10 billion in it.
Wow. So it sounds like all the big players are actually getting on board with it.
They are. And Amazon isn't the only big tech company that's getting involved. Apple is planning to invest $300 million in this trend. Google is even going bigger and has invested more than $7 billion. The savviest investors in the world are also jumping in. I'm talking about billionaires like Elon Musk and Richard Branson. Warren Buffett has also invested $15 billion in it and said he's ready to invest another $15 billion more.
Yeah, well, like I said, when you run through names like that, it does sound like a mad rush to me. I've never heard anything like it myself.
And I really can't blame them for jumping in. I mean, these people are rich for a reason. They like making money, and some stocks involved in this trend have been absolutely exploding higher. For example, last year alone, shares of Ideanomics jumped as high as 922%. Plug Power jumped as high as 1,177%. And Fuel Tech jumped as high as 1,407%, Chris.
Okay, so I want to make sure I'm understanding, because normally the stock market goes up by what? 7 to 10% a year on average, but you're talking about multiples of that. I mean, looking at the last example here, anyone who invested $1,000 on that play had the chance to walk away with a little over $15,000, and you're saying this all happened within the space of 1 year.
Yes, those gains happened just last year. That's how fast things are moving, and it's going on across several stocks involved in this megatrend. It's really insane. It's crazy. For example, last year alone, shares of DPW Holdings jumped as high as 1,032%. Electromechanica jumped even higher to 1,055%, and shares of NEO, get this, went absolutely crazy, jumping as high as 2,207%. These are all part of this $30 trillion trend that I'm talking about.
Insane numbers that you're sharing. I mean, these examples you're showing, we're talking about opportunities to make 9 times, 14 times, even more than 20 times your money, and all of that in the space of last year.
That's right. And normally, you'd have to wait years and years, sometimes even decades, to see those types of gains. But these gains are happening at lightning fast speeds.
Sorry, that sounds great, but whenever I hear you say lightning fast, my mind immediately goes to, is this a little risky?
Well, Chris, there's risk in any investment, and I'm not here to promise you'll see gains that big, but I am just showing you what's possible thanks to the power of this megatrend. It's a nice way to kick off what will be the biggest trend of this decade.
And Jeff, you said most people don't know about this trend?
Yes, that's the sad reality. While all these savvy investors are jumping in, most people will end up missing out on this once-in-a-generation opportunity. And Chris, that's why I'm here today.
Right.
I want to show you my #1 way to play this megatrend. It's a company that's developed a piece of technology that will help power this trend. And I have the technology right here in my pocket.
All right, we can't wait to see that. But, before we go there, I know that you're also going to mention some tickers and names of companies that are involved in this megatrend, and that's no strings attached, right?
That's right. But if you want to take action, please pay attention. This is a fast-moving situation. Thank you. And that's because of this document right here.
I see. And what is that?
Well, remember when I said there's a mad rush going on? Well, this is a list of 2,608 money managers who collectively manage $80 trillion in assets. And they signed this internationally recognized document saying they're planning to invest in this trend. That's why Wouter S, Chief Investment Strategy at Northern Trust Asset Management, said there is a wall of money coming into this megatrend. Chris, what do you think will happen when all this cash floods into this sector of the market?
Well, I'm guessing shares could be trading much, much higher.
Right. So that's why we're here today. I want to help give folks a chance to get ahead of that money. So today I'll give the details of this company I found. That way you can make an informed decision whether or not to get in or not. Look, Chris, I can't promise this opportunity will last much longer, but one thing is for certain. Right now, you have a unique opportunity to act.
Jeff, if this was coming from anyone else other than Mr. Jeff Brown, I would probably think this was just hype. But I have seen your track record, your resume, and I have to say, I was very impressed. I mean, your list of degrees alone is insane. You have to be the only expert in America who has degrees and certificates from Purdue's famed School of Astronauts, London Business School, Stanford, UC Berkeley School of Law, MIT, the Yale School of Management.
And Chris, I'm not done yet. I'm planning to attend Harvard next.
Oh, are you kidding me? That's incredible. But see, I know that you're not just one of those academics with no real life experience. You were an executive at Qualcomm, president with NXP Semiconductors Japan. These are two major public tech companies. I know you're an angel investor who's made dozens of deals involving private companies. And because of your expertise, I know you were asked to consult with senior officials at the Department of Commerce and policymakers, members of the National Institute of Standards and Technology and the Defense Intelligence Agency. As an active member of the Chamber of Digital Commerce in Washington, D.C., you were one of the most respected tech investors in America. But perhaps what's even more impressive than all of that is simply your track record of seeing big tech trends before most people catch on. In June of 2015, we mentioned this earlier, you published a write-up on Bitcoin and you encouraged people to buy a few Bitcoins. Now, Bitcoin at that time was trading for $240.
That's right.
Right, back then. So anyone who listened to you had the chance to make as much as 13,932%. The following year, you picked NVIDIA as your favorite stock. Boom, it exploded, 2,186%. And by the way, NVIDIA turned out to be the S&P 500 #1 tech stock of 2020.
It was, yeah.
I mean, I could spend all day here giving examples like that. One other one that comes to mind, you started covering 5G as early as 2017, I believe, way before it became a mainstream trend. And I know that your 5G presentation from the historic Schubert Theater has gone viral. More than 1.8 million people have already watched that. And many of the 5G stocks that you singled out have exploded higher. Stocks like AMD, you picked them back in 2017 as your favorite stock. And look at this, it's jumped as high as 805%. A couple of your other 5G plays are up as high as 225 and 220% as we sit here speaking right now with each other. I can't mention the name of those because you're still holding those in your model portfolio. It wouldn't be fair to your subscribers right now, obviously. But
well, that's right. I'm very happy with our track record.
Yeah, those gains are incredible. You should be proud.
Well, Chris, thank you. I've worked very hard to put regular investors into position to profit, but I'm not perfect.
What, you mean you're not right 100% of the time?
Of course not. Nobody is right 100% of the time. And not every gain is that big, but overall we've done quite well. The key to our success is simple. I've been able to identify many of the really big and important trends over the years, and yet those trends are nothing compared to what I believe is coming. This will be the biggest trend of the 2020s, and it's not just me saying it. Credit Suisse said this megatrend is set to dominate investors' agendas in the years ahead. State Street Global Advisors said it's a must-have ingredient in every portfolio. And NASDAQ called it one of the biggest opportunities of the next decade. Look, Chris, the thing about these megatrends is catching just one of them can transform your portfolio.
Can you give us an example of what you consider a megatrend to be?
Sure. A megatrend is something that basically changes the way that we live. It's something that affects just about everyone. And that's why the gains can be so massive. Look at smartphones, for example. Had you invested in Apple the day after Steve Jobs unveiled the first iPhone, you could have made as much as 4,264%. Of course, before smartphones, we had another megatrend, the internet. Along with the use of personal computers, it changed everything. Had you invested in Dell back in the early 1990s, you would have made a fortune. Shares went up 112,582%, enough to turn a small investment of $1 into more than 1.1 million. The internet has also triggered another huge megatrend, online shopping. Amazon started this trend back in the 1990s. That was the beginning of Amazon's retail revolution. Had you invested just $1,000 back then, you'd have over $1.7 million today. Now, of course, there's no guarantee that future megatrend stocks will see gains this large. In hindsight, Amazon was an amazing stock to get into, but it wasn't obvious to everyone at the time. But it's a great example of how a megatrend sent shares soaring.
And just looking at those examples, the internet, personal computers, smartphones, online shopping, these are things that pretty much affect everyone that's alive. And you expect the same thing from this new megatrend.
I do. That's why Bank of America says this megatrend will lead to changes in how governments, companies, markets, and society more broadly operate. And the technology that's in my pocket right now will play a key role. In just a moment, I'll even show you how it could create an opportunity to make an extra $30,000 every year. Anyone who takes a stake in the company behind this technology could make serious gains in the coming months and years. But like I mentioned, this is a fast-moving situation. There's a lot of money set to flow into this trend. A new report from PwC estimates that almost 60% of mutual fund assets will be invested in this trend in the coming years. And according to the latest World Wealth Report in 2020, by the end of 2021, wealthy investors said they plan to allocate 46% of their portfolio to this trend.
46%. So almost half of all their money invested in this trend.
That's right. That's why Yahoo Finance wrote, this isn't just a megatrend, it's a movement in big money, and it's the most profound redistribution of investment that the world's biggest asset and wealth managers have recently seen.
All right, Jeff, enough with the suspense. What exactly is this trend we're talking about here?
Well, Chris, it's just 3 letters, but I bet most people don't even know what it means. I'm talking about ESG investing. As independent financial advisor Nigel Green says, tech and ESG will be the investment megatrend of the decade. And in case you don't know, ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. So clean technology is a big part of ESG.
So are you just talking about things like solar and wind power?
Not really. I mean, renewable energy is part of this ESG trend, and it is a specific niche that some of the big name players I mentioned, like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, and Apple, are getting into. But that's not really what excites me. And the technology inside my pocket has nothing to do with that. Instead, I'm focusing on the marriage between 2 new exciting technologies. That's exciting to me because when you combine 2 new technologies, that's when you'd normally see the biggest gains. For example, mobile phones were an exciting technology, and so was the internet. And when you combine those 2 things, we got smartphones, right?
Absolutely right. And you already showed us how we could have made a fortune in Apple.
Yes, but you could have also made a fortune in the companies that were supplying chips to Apple. For example, shares of Skyworks jumped as high as 3,990%. Shares of Lam skyrocketed as high as 3,209%, and Broadcom jumped 3,268%. Just $1,000 invested in each of those right after Apple introduced its iPhone would have grown to more than $30,000 in each case. As you can see, those gains took some time, and they're some of the market's greatest success stories. Again, I'm not promising every play will be a winner or that you'll see gains that big, but it shows you what's possible.
Oh yeah, that's incredible. And you see another tech marriage happening now.
I do. It's the marriage between two new exciting technologies, electric vehicles and artificial intelligence.
Okay, well hold on, Jeff, because I want to ask you about artificial intelligence in a moment, but how can you say electric vehicles are a new technology? I'm thinking of Prius and Tesla have been around for a while now.
You're right. In fact, electric cars have been around for longer than most people think. Did you know that President William Taft owned an electric-powered car? It was a 1908 Baker Electric that clocked in at a whopping 14 miles per hour.
I did not know that.
Yes, but electric cars never caught on. The technology just wasn't there. They didn't have a good range, and charging the batteries definitely wasn't easy back then. Plus, by the 1920s, gasoline became more affordable, making gas-powered cars much cheaper. So electric cars really never had a chance, but thanks to advancements in battery technology, that's changing right before our eyes.
All right, what do you mean?
Well, we're on the cusp of mass adoption of electric cars, and you don't have to be an environmentalist to believe that. You see, this mass adoption is not going to happen because of environmental concerns. Instead, it will actually happen for economic reasons. And the company behind the technology that's inside my pocket will play a key role. Expensive batteries have always been the main factor preventing the mass adoption of electric cars. But that's changing now. According to a new survey from Bloomberg, battery costs have fallen 89% since 2010, and it's expected to keep falling. That's why Forbes wrote, electric vehicle market hits its tipping point. The Guardian says the rapid reduction of battery cost is expected to trigger a faster switch to electric vehicles than previously expected. And UBS just published research saying that the shift away from fossil fuel vehicles may be imminent. So car makers that try to hang on to gas-powered vehicles will be left behind.
So you're saying electric cars will become much more affordable than regular cars?
Yes. Okay. So if you look at a Tesla, it's already happening. The Tesla Model 3 and the gas-powered BMW 3 Series both sell for about $41,000 in the US. But when you factor in maintenance costs, then Tesla is already more affordable. As the New York Times wrote, a Tesla may even be cheaper to own than a BMW because it never needs oil changes or new spark plugs, and electricity is cheaper per mile than gasoline. That's a big reason why shares of Tesla have exploded as high as 668% last year alone. And now in terms of market value, Tesla is worth more than GM, Ford, Toyota, Volkswagen, and BMW combined, Chris.
Yeah, I think everyone knows that shares of Tesla have skyrocketed. They've been on the news a lot. That's true.
Yes, unfortunately, most people missed this Tesla run because they think they're a car company, but they're not.
Well, hold on. If they're not a car company, what exactly are they? I mean, they sell cars, right?
Well, this has to do with the technology inside my pocket, and I'll explain everything in just a moment. You're not going to believe me, but I'm going to show you a video to prove it to you so you can see with your own eyes, and you'll see how a lot of people could get rich from this and how, down the road, this technology could even help you make an extra $30,000 a year. But before we get to that, first I want to show you this chart because this will have huge investment implications.
All right, so what are we looking at here?
This graphic shows how new technologies are adopted, first only by innovators, then by early adopters, and then finally by the masses. And when it comes to electric cars, we're right here on the cusp of mass adoption. That's why the New York Times wrote, the age of electric cars is dawning ahead of schedule. The article went on to say that we're rapidly approaching the tipping point when it will be as cheap and maybe cheaper to own a plug-in vehicle than one that burns fossil fuels. Now, a few years ago, industry experts expected 2025 would be the turning point, but technology is advancing faster than expected and could be poised for a quantum leap.
That's interesting. So this shift is not going to wait until 2025, as the experts were predicting.
No, it's happening right now, and that's very, very important. because it's during this transition to mass adoption that you can see the biggest gains. It's why Bloomberg wrote that this market is poised to become explosive. We're already seeing some massive gains in companies involved in this booming industry of electric vehicles. It's not just Tesla. Companies that make batteries, companies that mine lithium, or those working on charging stations, you name it, they're all exploding higher. Look at Chinese battery and electric vehicle manufacturer Kandi Technologies. Shares jumped as high as 532% last year alone. Or look at lithium mining company Lithium Americas Corp. As you probably already know, lithium ion are the most common battery type in modern electric vehicles.
Right.
And for that reason, shares of this lithium mining company jumped as high as 641% last year alone. Or look at a company called Arcimoto Inc. They make a three-wheeled electric vehicle known as FUV, which stands for Fun Utility Vehicle. Shares have jumped as high as 1,660% last year.
Wow. Jeff, it's crazy. Last year, the market went up about 16%, which is a good return for most people, right? But these examples you just gave crushed those gains. I mean, we're talking about beating the market by more than 100 times.
That's right. Now, chances are you've never heard of these firms, Chris.
I agree, never have.
Most people don't know about them because they're small capitalization stocks. When they take off, of course, they're going to outperform the market. Of course, they're riskier than buying, say, an index fund, but that's why they have much greater upside. The key is to spot them on the way up. But the reason why these big gains are happening now is simple. It's during this transition to mass adoption that the biggest gains are made.
All right, but Jeff, when you drive on the roads today, you still see mostly gas-powered cars. So can we be on the cusp of mass adoption?
Well, that's changing very, very fast. Pretty much all the automakers are rushing to transition from gas-powered to electric cars. Let's have a look at Ford. It's launching its first all-electric car, a Mustang Mach-E. Think about that. This is the American muscle poster child, and it's making the shift. If this doesn't tell you that electric vehicles are taking off right now, I don't know what else will. And Ford is not alone. Volkswagen is planning to launch 70 new electric models by 2028. General Motors just launched its battery-powered 2022 Hummer EV, and it sold out minutes after its first unveiling.
The gas guzzler Hummer?
I know. Well, they discontinued that Hummer in 2010 because of the high prices of gas, but now they've relaunched it as an all-electric pickup truck, and that's just the beginning. The CEO of the company said that GM will be an all-electric sooner than people would think.
Hold on. So General Motors is saying 100% of their cars will be electric.
I know, that's right. And that's happening across the industry with all the models. Toyota is planning to launch a new electric car with a range of 310 miles that you'll be able to recharge from 0 to full in just 10 minutes. And the CEO of BMW just announced that in the next 2 years, they'll build 250,000 more electric cars than originally planned. All the automakers are rushing towards this shift because they're afraid they'll be left behind. That's why the website Electra wrote, 2021 is going to be the year for all electric cars and should greatly accelerate the electric revolution. There are so many new models hitting the market that it should shift the entire industry. So this isn't something that's years away, it's happening right now. And anyone who doesn't act risks being left behind. In fact, if you didn't invest in this market in 2020, you already missed some incredible opportunities. For example, look at the company Seaback Energy Technology. They make lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. Last year alone, shares popped as high as 1,622%. Or look at what happened with shares of Ohio electric van maker Workhorse Group. It skyrocketed as high as 1,887%. Shares of Chinese EV maker NIO jumped even higher. Some people have called it the next Tesla. Their shares jumped as high as 2,207%.
Okay, I got it. But wow, all of that just happened last year.
Yes, and it's insane. Think about that. Last year, $1,000 invested in the stock market would have returned $160 in profits. The same $1,000 invested in NIO would have returned $22,070.
Yeah, so you're talking about making almost 140 times more money.
That's right. And these massive gains are happening because, like I've been saying, we're on the cusp of mass adoption. And that's when the biggest gains will happen.
Okay, but Jeff, based on these monster gains, it looks like we already missed our chance to profit.
Actually, it's not too late. So for you watching at home, if you missed those big gains from last year, don't worry, because thanks to the technology inside my pocket, you'll have a second chance.
You're teasing us to death here. The suspense is killing me. What is it that's inside your pocket?
Chris, before I show it to you, let me remind you, so far I talked a lot about electric vehicles, but that's just part of the equation. I'm talking about the marriage between electric vehicles and artificial intelligence. And Tesla is a great example of that.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up again, because earlier you said Tesla isn't just an electric vehicle company, but you never really explained that. What do you mean?
Well, yes. Remember when people used to think Amazon was just a bookstore?
Sure.
Anyone who made that mistake missed out on 171,194% gains as Amazon went from selling books to dominating all of the retail industry. People are making a similar mistake with Tesla now. Just like Amazon wasn't a bookstore, Tesla is not a car company. In fact, check out these recent headlines. Elon Musk is a total fraud. The New York Post in July of 2018. Nothing Elon Musk has done has stopped the bleeding at Tesla, and things look like they're going to get worse. That was the Business Insider, May 2019. Morgan Stanley slashes worst case price for Tesla to $10. Was from Bloomberg in May 21st of 2019.
Yeah, after reading those headlines, you'd have to be crazy to invest in Tesla, right? And yet, like you showed us earlier, last year alone, shares jumped as high as 668%. So why do you think everybody got it so wrong?
Well, not everyone got it wrong, Chris. Only those who think Tesla is just a car company. I understood very early on that Tesla was much more than that. Check this out. As early as November 2018, I wrote, when I think about Tesla, I see one of the leading artificial intelligence companies in the world. This is the incredible part that most don't see or understand. Tesla designed a software, AI platform, designed to operate cars and trucks.
Okay, you got to hold on with me here. I'm not sure I'm understanding you. So around the same time that most people were telling us to avoid Tesla, you were saying it was time to buy.
Well, Chris, that's an understatement. I was pounding the table. Later in January of 2019, I also wrote this. What Wall Street has missed and is still missing is that Tesla is much more than just a flashy electric vehicle company. Tesla is really a software and artificial intelligence company that is leading the way in both the self-driving space as well as EV batteries. I'm telling you, when the market catches on what Tesla really is, $300 will seem dirt cheap for the stock. We can expect Tesla to be trading anywhere between $450 and $600 within the next 36 months.
Wow. Jeff, I have to say, I'm speechless here. I mean, the last time I looked, shares were trading for more than $700. So it looks like you were 100% right. If anything, you underestimated how fast shares would rise.
That's right. Shortly after I published that note, Chris, shares exploded as high as 1,481%.
Oh.
It's funny, I just saw a note the bank RBC sent to its clients saying, there's no graceful way to put this other than to say we got Tesla's stock completely wrong. I like their honesty.
Yeah.
Wall Street is finally waking up. You see, most people missed that big rally because they think Tesla is just another electric car company, but they're not. They're an artificial intelligence company. And the technology inside my pocket proves it. In fact, soon this piece of technology that's inside my pocket will be inside every single Tesla out there. It could even help you make as much as an extra $30,000 every year.
All right, now we'll get to that technology inside your pocket in just a moment. But why do you say Tesla is an artificial intelligence, an AI company? I mean, they don't sell software like Microsoft does. They sell cars, right?
Yes, but hear me out. Every other car maker buys or builds an engine and a chassis. Then they fill the rest of the details, and only then they write software to assist in controlling the car. Tesla does the opposite. It's designed its artificial intelligence first and then built a car around it. The software comes first. The hardware, the chassis, engine, tires, seats, etc., comes after. This allows the company to upgrade each car several times throughout the year. Chris, let me ask you this. What kind of phone do you have?
An iPhone.
Okay, so you know when Apple has an update to its operating system, you usually get an alert that looks something like this, something that says an update is now available, right?
Right, that happens from time to time, sure.
Well, Tesla does the same thing. Anytime Tesla has a software update for its fleet of cars, it simply pushes it out. And that's a big deal because that's how they're leading us into the next stage of transit. What I often refer to as the future of transportation, what I call the marriage between electric vehicles and artificial intelligence, where cars will be fully autonomous. You see, just recently, Tesla pushed out a new update for its self-driving software, and it's a game changer. Here's how Tesla described it. When full self-driving is enabled, your vehicle will make lane changes off highways, select forks to follow your navigation route, navigate around other vehicles and objects, and make left and right turns.
Jeff, it sounds incredible. I think we've all heard about self-driving cars, but that's got to be years away from us.
No, it's already happening. Now, Chris, I knew you wouldn't believe it, so I recently got into a Tesla myself and took a camera with me. Check this out.
Okay.
All right, I'm here on a beautiful day inside of a Tesla Model 3, and while it might look like I'm going to be going for a drive, actually, I'm going to have the Tesla drive me. So I've set an address into the navigation system, and I'll show you how simple this is. Simply 2 clicks down, and the car drives by itself. Now, I've pre-scheduled a location, but I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. So we're on a busy surface road right now, and as we look at the screen, we can see the AI actually identifying cars that are in our path, and it uses that information obviously to gauge a safe distance. It automatically brakes in order to maintain distance with the cars around it, and we can see all the cars in the adjacent lane as well showing up. This truck here, and we can actually see the difference. We can see that it's a truck versus a sedan here, and we saw it pull right into the lane next to us. So we're just taking off right from a red light to a green light. No need to touch the accelerator or the brakes. All right, we're getting ready. We're just about to hop on to I-95 from a surface road. And the car just pulled into the lane, and we're taking a turn right onto the on-ramp. And now we're traveling 65 miles an hour along with the rest of the traffic. The car even identifies the words merge and the arrow on the street, preparing the car to merge into the next lane. And we can see this is quite a busy environment. The highway is, all 5 lanes have cars in them, merging and switching lanes. So the incredible thing about these cars, the Teslas, is they really are a car designed around a computer, and inside of the vehicle is essentially a supercomputer. They're made up of very custom chips, graphic processing chips, that actually run the software algorithms. That's the artificial intelligence, which is exactly what enables the self-driving mode. And of course, around the car, there's several cameras and other sensors that help the car, the AI, basically see the road and all of the objects on the road that it needs to be aware of to drive safely. It sounds like science fiction, but it's not science fiction. This is already happening. Tesla cars have already driven more than 4.5 billion miles on autopilot to date.
Yeah, it's incredible, Jeff. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, and the technology inside my pocket is helping make that a reality. In fact, this technology will soon be in every self-driving Tesla. And it will not only allow cars to self-drive, but it could also put an extra $30,000 in your pocket every year if you own a Tesla.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, when you own a car, it just sits idle in your garage 95% of the time, right?
Sure.
All right, well now imagine this. You arrive at work in your Tesla, you get out of the car, then you press a button on a software application on your phone that instructs your Tesla to join the fleet. Now, while you're at work, your Tesla is out driving itself. It's giving rides. It's literally earning money, and it returns back to your office at the end of your workday. Imagine that. Your car becomes an asset, literally generating income for you every day. And that's exactly what Elon Musk is planning for Tesla. You'll pay less than $50,000 for a Tesla, but once that car is part of the robo-taxi network, it could generate about $30,000 in gross profit every year.
That's amazing, Jeff. I think we all know the moment you drive a new car off a dealer's lot, it does start to lose value really, really fast. But here you're saying your car could be able to put tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket every year. Sounds like a no-brainer to me. It's a great idea.
That's right, and it's why Elon Musk recently said it is financially insane to buy anything else than a Tesla. The Washington Post even wrote an article about it, calling it Silicon Valley's holy grail of transportation's future, based on the expectation that it could enable customers to deploy their cars as driverless robo-taxis, making the owners money even when they would be typically parked in the garage. Make no mistake, this will be the future of transportation. That's why one of America's top futurists, Peter Diamandis, recently said, the era of the internal combustion engine car is ending. From here on out, it's all about electric vehicles and autonomous ride sharing. While personal vehicles currently cost 53 cents per mile, autonomous electric vehicles are expected to vastly undercut this threshold at only 4 cents a mile. In other words, this transportation would be 92% cheaper.
So you think gas-powered cars are going to disappear?
No, not disappear. If that's what you want to drive, they'll still be available. We just won't have as many choices as we do today. Most cars will be electric.
So Jeff, how can people out there profit from this trend? Buying shares of Tesla?
Well, Tesla is a great company, and it's leading this revolution. Competitors will have no way to compete with Tesla. Each Tesla car is connected to Tesla via a wireless network, and its fleet of self-driving cars is collecting driving data, images, performance data, etc. That's everything that an AI needs to learn and get smarter every single day.
Right. So every time a Tesla car is on autopilot, the AI is it's getting smarter.
Exactly. It's like each car is connected to a central brain, so that every time one car learns something new driving on the road, all the cars learn that new thing. That's why no other company on the planet has the network in place nor the data to compete with Tesla. But there's a problem. Shares are now trading above $700. They were cheap when I wrote about them back in 2018, you know, before they went up 1,481%. Right. But that's no longer the case. That's why today I want to share an opportunity that's even better than Tesla.
You're talking about the technology in the pocket.
Yes.
All right.
And here it is. And it's all thanks to this tiny piece of technology. You see, these Tesla cars have a camera mounted behind the windshield. It's that camera that provides visibility in front of the car. It captures front images over up to 250 meters. And those cameras use this image sensor that I'm holding in my hand. Now, normally Tesla is very secretive about its suppliers. Good luck finding that information on their website or even on their SEC filings. But after countless hours of research, I found the company that's making these sensors for Tesla. And here's the good news. While shares of Tesla are trading above $700, the company behind this technology is trading for a price that's 95% cheaper. So that means there's a lot of upside potential.
Wow. So what's the name and ticker of that company?
Well, like I mentioned before, Tesla is very secretive with that kind of stuff. For example, I looked through their latest annual report and they do not mention the name of this supplier anywhere. And as far as I know, Elon never mentioned the name of this company in one of the company's presentations. But here's the good news. I put all the details inside a special report that I'd like to give everyone access to right now. It's called How to Invest in Tesla's Secret Supplier. Inside this report, I'll give you all the details on this company, including its name and ticker symbol. This company is in perfect position to profit from this marriage between electric vehicles and artificial intelligence. Fortune magazine even named it one of the fastest growing companies in America. You see, aside from this sensor that's used in Tesla, this company makes more than 10,000 other car products, mainly semiconductors, including power semiconductors that help bring the cost of batteries down. And that's a big deal because electric vehicles require a lot more semiconductors than regular cars. It's estimated that a regular car has $40 worth of semiconductors. An EV will have as much as $500 worth. As we transition from gas power to electric cars, we'll need a lot more semiconductors. Chris, remember when I said that General Motors announced they'll soon be a 100% electric car company? Well, this company also is supplying General Motors. So, as all the automakers continue to shift to EV, this company stands to make a fortune. But remember, we're on the cusp of mass adoption, and that's when I believe we'll see the biggest gains. If you wait too long, you're going to miss out.
Yeah, you already showed us what happened to Tesla. It went up 1,481% after you wrote about it, and anyone who waited missed those big gains.
Exactly. But now, Tesla is too expensive. But this company that's supplying this technology to Tesla is not. There is a lot of upside here. As with any investment, nothing is guaranteed, so you shouldn't go all in. The key to building a huge tech portfolio is to make several calculated investments spread across a number of breakthrough technologies. This is where my work can come in. And that's why I want to rush this report to anyone who's serious about this opportunity. All I ask in return is that you take a risk-free trial to my monthly research service, Near Future Report. When I say this offer is risk-free, I mean it. You can try it out for the next 60 days, and when you do, I'll immediately send you this report.
Right, Jeff, and that all sounds great. I understand the Near Future Report is your flagship research that you publish that every month, right? Can you explain a little bit about how it works?
Yes, every month I publish my best ideas in the Near Future Report. I call it Near Future because the future is much, much faster than you think. Technology is moving so fast that it's really hard for the average person to keep up. By the time they hear about it from the mainstream media, it's already too late. Shares have already popped and the money has been made. And for that reason, a lot of people end up missing out on the big investment opportunities. That's where I can help. As you mentioned before, I was a technology executive for 25 years, and I've done dozens of deals as an angel investor. So I've built great contacts in the technology space. That allows me to see tech trends months, if not years, before they become mainstream. And that's my goal in this monthly publication. You'll hear about the most exciting technology trends before they become mainstream. Right now, our model portfolio is well diversified across the top trends in technology today. I'm talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, genetic editing, precision medicine, cloud computing, and 5G wireless technology.
Right, and I know you're one of the very first analysts who started covering 5G, right?
That's right. I'm very excited about 5G because it will enable new technologies, even like self-driving cars, augmented reality and virtual reality, remote surgeries, holographic telepresence. In fact, I just finished a brand new report on a very exciting 5G company that's trading below $5 a share. And I wrote this report right after my 5G Heartland tour.
Heartland tour.
Yes, we actually have some footage of that tour. Let me show you.
Yeah, let's take a look.
I traveled to almost 20 cities around the United States, and this footage is proof that 5G is up and running in places like Des Moines, Omaha, Memphis, Little Rock, Kansas City, and countless other heartland cities. I experienced 1.5 gigabits per second without any delay in many of those places. Chris, that's 150 times faster than the average speeds of my own hometown's 4G wireless network. But here's the thing. To get that kind of speed, you need to be in range of a 5G cell tower or base station. That's why most Americans still don't have that kind of speed. But this company that's trading for less than $5 a share will help change all of that. They're going to bring those 5G speeds to every city block in the world. That's why I'm confident that investors who jump in now stand to make huge gains. I put all the details of this company in another special report called My #1 Pure 5G Play, and it's yours free the moment you take a risk-free trial of the Near Future Report.
Jeff, this is terrific. I think we talked a bit about your amazing track record before, but it is worth briefly repeating. You picked Bitcoin right before it exploded, as high as 13,850%. You picked NVIDIA as your favorite stock in 2016, just before shares exploded there, 2,186%. You recommended AMD in 2017 as your favorite stock, and boom, again, it exploded as high as 805%. And then, when everyone was telling us to avoid Tesla, you were pounding the table, as you say, to buy shares there. And since then, shares have jumped 1,481%. But now I understand why many consider you to be one of the top tech investing experts in America.
Well, Chris, you're right. Not all gains will be that big, but finding those opportunities is always the goal of our research. And just remember that past performance does not guarantee future success. And I never recommend anyone invest more than they're willing to lose.
Yeah, good point. Jeff, I've also seen some notes from your readers, and I can tell they absolutely love your research. Let me share some of those notes with everyone. I've been a loyal subscriber for some time now and greatly admire and appreciate the work you do to bring us readers such quality recommendations. Your newsletters are well worth their weight in gold. That was from Brian Z. Here's another. I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate the Near Future Report. I find Jeff's observations very interesting, well worth the subscription. Keep up the good work, from Sandra M. Congratulations on another blockbuster month and an excellent piece of research work that you've shared with us today. Just finished reading it, and what a wealth of truly valuable information. Very rare and hard to find. That was Kyle O. And we have this one. Just wanted you all to know that this is the most trustworthy news and picks I ever came across. Hands down, my portfolio is nothing now but Jeff's picks, and I'm very pleased with how they are performing. The best newsletter printed, period. Keep up the great work, Leonard S. Boy, you can't get much better than that, Jeff. But I can't say I'm really surprised. They're really happy. I looked at the open positions in your model portfolio, and I couldn't believe it. You're up in almost all of the positions as of mid-March. And these are not small gains either. Some of these are as high as 136%, 278%, 315%. This is just amazing. So how can everyone watching this take advantage of this risk-free trial?
Well, normally a one-year subscription to the Near Future Report costs $199. But because of this unprecedented situation, I want to do something special today. You see, we're on the cusp of mass adoption of electric vehicles, and that will only happen once. It's happening right now. Like I showed you here today, this is all part of a $30 trillion trend. And according to Bank of America, there's $20 trillion more on the way. Everyone is getting in. For you watching at home, I really don't want you to miss out on this megatrend. So I don't want price to be an issue at all. That's why I've prepared a special discount for you.
Okay. Everyone, we have covered a lot of ground so far. So I just want to recap here. Here is everything that you're going to get when you take this risk-free trial to the Near Future Report. 12 months, first of all, of Jeff's best investment ideas. Every month, you're going to get a brand new issue of the Near Future Report with Jeff's top way of playing AI, artificial intelligence, blockchain, 5G, robotics, self-driving cars, and all of the most exciting tech trends of our time. You're going to get bonus number 1, how to invest in Tesla's secret supplier. And inside this special report, you'll find details of the company that's not only supplying Tesla, but also playing a key role in the mass adoption of electric vehicles. Bonus number 2, my number 1 pure 5G play. In this report, you'll get all the details of this 5G stock that's trading for less than $5. Then bonus number 3, as you just heard, the new economy, 5 stocks that will soar in the new world. This report will show you 5 companies that are thriving in this new normal. You're also going to get access to Jeff's model portfolio where you can see all of the current open positions. You're also going to get full support. Jeff's customer support team is located in Delray Beach, Florida. Please feel free to call or email them for any help that you need with your subscription. And you're also going to get full 24/7 access to our members-only website. So, Jeff, you mentioned that the normal price for a 1-year subscription is $199, but you are giving everyone a special discount today, right?
That's right. It's a discount of $150.
Oh, wow.
That means today you can take a risk-free trial for just $49. And that covers a full year of access.
Yeah. So a full year of getting your best ideas. So that's what, about 13 cents a day. You're making this a no-brainer for all of us watching right now.
And remember, I'm not even asking for any type of long-term commitment right now. You can just take this risk-free trial and decide later if it's right for you.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How does the trial actually work?
Well, Chris, anyone who joins today will have 60 days to test out the service. If during that trial period you find that you're not getting life-changing information, or for any reason at all, you can simply call or email our customer service team and cancel your subscription. We'll give you a full refund, no questions asked, and we'll let you keep everything you receive as a subscriber at no charge.
So to be clear, they can keep all the reports that you mentioned today.
Yes, you can keep all of the issues, you can keep all the special reports, you can keep everything. And this means that there's no risk to you at all in signing up.
Okay, you heard him, everyone. Jeff Brown, there's really no risk to you for this offer. So to get started, just click on the button that you see below, and like Jeff showed us here today, many of the companies involved in this booming electric vehicle space are soaring higher right now. Condi Technologies jumped as high as 532% last year alone. Lithium Americas Corp jumped as high as 641%. Arcimoto Inc. jumped as high as 1,660%. Seaback Energy Technology popped as high as 1,622%. And Ohio electric van maker Workhorse Group skyrocketed as high as 1,887%. And then lastly here, shares of Chinese EV maker NIO jumped as high as 2,207%. All of these massive gains happened just last year. And I mean, just in this last example, Jeff, had you invested $5,000 in that company, just a few months later, you'd have more than $115,000.
Incredible.
Now, Jeff has found a company that he believes will be the next big winner of this electric vehicle revolution. Remember, there's no time to waste. Electric vehicles are on the cusp of mass adoption. And as you can see from these incredible gains, things are moving at lightning fast speed. You wait too long, you could be leaving a ton of money on the table. I believe this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This mass adoption is only going to happen once. And if you miss this, there won't be another chance. I'm sure you'll make the right decision, though. Click that button below to get started right now. And Jeff, thank you so much for being with us here today. I think we all learned a lot about this new and very exciting mega trend.
It's always a pleasure, Chris. Thank you.